Sounds better in stereo, doesn't it?
I looked at you. I was like, "What?"
It's
sounds
this
like-
chord.
Oh shit!
That sounds good. Wow.
Oh, get it off of there.
Well, good thing we have like 3 more of these around, so I can just swap this thing out. Jeez, sorry about that. That did sound really weird in mono there for a second.
Weird. I was
wonder if I took
thinking.
the
I was like,
case
"Are you
off, that would
starting
help.
or?"
Yeah, that was it. Anyway, hi.
Here we go.
Jeez, maybe we should call this one Technical Difficulties 2
Part
or whatever.
2.
Or- wow. Anyway, hi. Welcome to the show, the Minnesota Pubcast. We got to touch on some stuff that we didn't get to last night for sure, and then we'll get to some new stuff. But one of the things that we didn't get to last night that I really want to talk about is this NSA group. Now, did you
yeah.
read the article that
Yeah,
I
I
put
read-
up about that?
Oh, sorry. I spoke very loudly into the microphone. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, don't do
See?
that, please.
Ow. Can you
Now,
will
do I
you
need to turn you down now?
actually, you know what? Turn me down, but turn my headphones up.
Okay, turn your,
Does that
well,
make
no,
sense?
because your levels are fine. Your headphones are the only thing that we need to change.
Okay, good. I
Yeah.
don't know. This is picking up some weird.
Yeah, you look good.
I
But you
Thank
look
you.
good
Thank you.
right now,
Nobody
and
can
on the
see me
computer,
ever
your
on the
levels
show.
as well look good.
No one can
yes.
ever see me, so it's so nice to hear that.
Yeah, throw it out there. That's
Yes,
not a visual medium.
I do look
but,
good. I do look good. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyway, you said you did read the
Before
piece.
my obnoxious, I have read like 3/4 of the piece.
Okay, and what? Well, okay, so you only read 3/4 because when I first read this, just so everybody that's listening knows what the hell we're talking about. There's a group in New York right now that's going around putting tape recorders under tables in just random places, or they're stashing them and they're hiding tape recorders and recording people's conversations, and then they're
Sure.
posting them on the internet. And their whole point is it's to wake up people who just go, well, I don't do anything wrong, so I don't care if the NSA is spying on me. It's to make them go, really? You really don't want your
The
private
people
conversations
like me,
out there?
People like me.
Are you one of those people? That,
Totally one of those people.
I don't
Wait,
care if they
now
spy
will
on
you
us.
Turn me back up again because now I'm quiet.
Oh, my goodness. How about
Yay.
now?
Maybe. I feel like I can I can never get the levels quite right.
You
in
do
here.
have an issue with
because I like to hear myself. I like to be able to hear you, and if I'm a little soft, like if I can hear myself outside my headphones more than I can hear myself in my headphones, that's the problem.
well, that's but you are seriously, your headphones are twice as loud as mine right now.
But that's weird because we should
or
switch.
they should be.
We
I
should
should
switch
say.
spots. Do you want to play an experiment quick and switch spots and see what it sounds like?
Okay,
Here,
let's
ready?
do it.
Okay, 1,
All
2, 3, go.
Talk about an on-air production meeting. Oh, how'd that feel?
Ouch.
Let's kick you.
Okay. No, see, I don't think there's that much difference.
No, it sounds totally the same to me.
Isn't that interesting?
Actually, these headphones suck.
Okay, that's what
It's
it is.
the headphones.
It's the
Oh my
headphones
God,
because
these
these are
suck.
more noise blocking, and
Yeah.
these have more clarity.
Those are just better headphones than I'm
Yes,
wearing.
these are
That's
better
all it
headphones.
is. That's the difference. Yep.
Okay.
So, all right. So now turn up the fourth one over there. Not
Number
up,
four.
not here on the bottom one. Turn that.
On the
that up a
farthest
little
to the
bit.
right.
Yeah.
To the right.
All the way to your right. Yep.
Whoa.
Okay.
What's
Right.
happening?
Now that'll be about where those are.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great.
All right,
Thank
that was
you.
fun.
Switch.
All right. You guys enjoy that? Good times. All right. Back. All right.
At least we've solidified that I'm not insane.
Yeah, no, you're not. You're not. Definitely not insane. Those headphones were definitely a lot lower than these. Anyway, let's invest in a few more pairs of Sennheisers. I think that's what these are called, right? Sennheisers. Anyway, so NSA, and that's the group is calling themselves the NSA, which is interesting, but
The anti-NSA.
right. Their whole point is to bring up, to make us think, do you really care if your conversations are recorded or not? And what I found interesting, because I didn't read the rest of this. Do you need me to turn you down now? Jesus. How's that? That better?
Perfect.
Okay, so they're going to spread this across the country. That's their plan. Is they want to really bolster their point here. And right now they're only in New York. And I love this. I think that this is something that does need to be done because. And go look this up. I'll post the story after the show too. I will for sure put that up so you guys can find this. But I guarantee that there are conversations that you even just have on your cell phone that you would not want anyone to hear. And they don't have to be terroristic. They don't have to be criminal. They could just be embarrassing. They could just be personal.
Yeah.
That's nobody else's business. It should not be looked at and listened to in the name of national security. They should be doing a better job of figuring out who is actually a threat to national security instead of this blanket thing.
But isn't
That's the problem.
Okay. But isn't that kind of what they're doing? I'm probably not really being monitored all that much. Like, I have no reason to be monitored.
But they have a file on you. And they
Okay.
have, I guarantee they have email history. And it's not even necessarily that right now, like they have a bunch of stuff on you, but they have it logged. So if they ever do someday want to make a case against you for whatever, I don't know, they'll have it. And I don't like that. They have a ton of information
okay.
about us that I didn't offer up to them. Or at
Okay.
least I didn't think I was.
Sure.
So you don't see any problem with that. And you don't see that these guys have a great point.
I just don't. No, I think it's a good point. I think it makes you think. I think that they're continuing the conversation, which is always the conversation should always be to question and to have an eye on the government as much as the government has an eye on you. I think it's a great conversation. Does it bother me yet? No, it doesn't bother me. I don't think it will. I think it's just inherently going to bother some people, and some people really aren't going to be fazed by it.
I don't know. I mean,
And that's totally, I understand why it bothers people. I'm not like, oh, it shouldn't bother you. I think it's a noble thing to be fighting.
Well, but it's a thing that's protected by our so-called great document that's supposed to be sacred and supposed to be something that we
Sure.
adhere to.
Sure.
It's a complete, it's that flipped upside down. The Patriot Act in and of itself almost flips it upside down.
Sure. Okay. Yes.
And we have we've doubled our, internal policing, basically. That bothers me. And I don't think I am glad because I don't feel like it's talked about much anymore, except for when you talk about like blacks or blacks being killed by cops. I mean, that
Sure.
part of it's been talked about a lot, obviously. But this whole, just the concept of giving them more and more and more and more and more of our liberties. I don't think that's talked about anymore, and especially because you have a Democrat in office, so it's not looked at as the same way, especially the civil libertarians. You're not going to hear a lot of them bitching about Obama like they did about Bush, because Bush, when you're a conservative, especially a neocon, he passed the Patriot Act. I mean, but so did Obama. I
Right.
wished we would, and there's
Obama
a lot
hasn't repealed it. He hasn't done anything to
no,
reverse.
and he's passed other stuff on top of it, like
Yes.
that NDAA or whatever it was called.
Totally.
And I don't know. I like this, and I do kind of hope this spreads, and I hope that, I hope that they do get somebody famous or somebody where somebody will give a shit that they said it or did something, and I want that to get out, and then it becomes a big deal, because right now it's just some anonymous people sitting at a restaurant in New York. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. Okay. I got. Yeah. My thing is, do we have an example besides actual actual Islamic terrorists? And this is just me being completely ignorant. I'm truly asking this. Do we have an example of us using this information, the NSA's information, to out somebody, to file charges against somebody that's not an Islamic terrorist?
Well, they wouldn't be able to. What would the charge? You mean if they were like a
So what are
domestic
they
terrorist
using
or
this
something?
information for then? I guess is my question. What are they using this You're saying they have all this information on us and they're able to use it against us. But how? How are they using it
I don't know
against us?
yet. That's the part I'm not smart enough to decide.
Yeah, and I don't know either. I guess that's...
But I've read enough of 1984, and I can be a conspiracy theorist enough to go, you give them information, I don't care what it is for now. In the future, they may find a way to use it against you. And it's just, what are we giving it to them for?
I've always just considered that type of monitoring for large acts against the government from foreign sources. And by
okay.
foreign, I mean terrorists.
So let's take it to
the CIA has always used intelligence like this and monitoring tactics like this to find and capture terrorists and stop things from happening before they happen.
Well, the electronic ways have that this is all kind of new. I mean, especially the last 20 years with the development of technology.
Yeah,
I don't
think
that you
the
could
government
say
has
it's the same
always
at all,
monitored us in a way, though.
Sure, but our Constitution was supposed to protect us from certain monitoring, and that's not being done anymore. I think that's kind of the whole point. And what I'm saying is, right now, and I've had this conversation many times, probably even a couple times on the show, but right now, what you do isn't illegal, and the things you talk about and email about aren't illegal. But that doesn't mean tomorrow they won't be.
Okay,
The
yeah.
government, and
I guess this is where we differ. They're collecting all this information, but in order for it to be illegal, they have to. There's still checks and balances in place, and there are other aspects of the Constitution in place that still protect us from using that information against us. So, I that's where I.
Then why are they getting
struggle.
it?
I guess that's where I struggle. I just always see the NSA as using this information to do the basic things that the CIA would do to find and stop plots against the United States government or against the citizens of the United States.
No, don't get me wrong. The original intent of all of this, I think, is that. But
So I
the
guess
road to hell
I
is
think-
paved with good intentions.
I think the intent is still there, and I trust our Constitution and I trust our laws enough and our legislative process enough to know that I don't think that the intent can go that far off track.
See,
But that's where we've always differed
Yes.
on this. Is that I am not afraid of my government.
Oh, I am
I am
absolutely,
not
utterly afraid. of
I
government.
can't
always.
I refuse to live that way, and I'm not afraid of it, and I don't think we should be.
See, and I think you're scarier than I am because you would enable the government to get to that level.
But I
As
wouldn't.
whereas I would not. I'm already saying let's be vigilant of it
but
right
I'm
now.
doing things like I'm being actively aware of what's happening. I'm being actively involved in the voting process and the legislative process, the things that get the people that we want in place.
Okay,
I
everything
don't-
you're saying is above board. You're assuming they're going to keep
Yeah,
it that way.
Jason, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm never going to be. Like, we're not going to agree on this.
But why
I'm
would you?
not afraid. I'm
What
not
government
afraid.
in the
You
world
can't
has
talk
been
me-
trustworthy in time, in the history of man?
You can't.
I don't
talk
understand
me
what
into
you're
being afraid
saying.
about it.
But the reason that we have the Constitution is because our forefathers said this is where it leads if you don't follow this shit. This is where it goes to tyranny.
Yeah, and I
That's
think
where
they're
it
still
leads.
following it.
Even though they literally aren't.
I think they still are.
What
I
the
think-
NSA is doing is illegal.
And the
Is
Constitution-
against the Constitution.
And the Constitution has always been open to a slight interpretation.
I mean, I guess, but I mean, people on both sides of the aisle agree that the Patriot Act, in many ways, is against the Constitution.
No, I think that there are things that are borderline, but I think there's always going to be enough talk about those borderline things that eventually those are going to be repealed. I don't think things can get too far down the road. I'm not saying things aren't passed that are right or that I agree with. The Patriot Act being one of them. I don't think there's always going to be enough conversation surrounding those things that keep them from going too far. And there's enough checks and balances, and there's enough people in place involved in our process that keep it from going too far.
What is too far in your mind as far as the government monitoring?
Things that you say, like 1984, that being able to prosecute me for my
No.
my
What can they not surveil? What do you have a problem with them surveilling? Can they have cameras in your house? Should they be able to watch you? They can listen to you. Should they be able to watch you?
I don't know. I don't even know if they're listening to me. I guess this is.
No, what we're arguing about is that they are allowed to. Of course, they're not listening to you
They're
or
not.
me personally, but they can, and that's what we're arguing about. And I just want to know
I don't
where
know
where
if
does that end? Like you're okay with
I don't
them
know if I
monitoring
agree
your
that they
cell
can.
phone?
I don't know if I agree that they can. Am I okay with them monitoring my cell phone? Sure.
Really?
I just don't care. I don't care enough. They aren't monitoring me. I'm not one to be monitored.
Now, at this moment, yes.
But it's not that's not going to change. That's not going to change. I mean, we're just repeating ourselves over and over again.
I guess.
I don't think that's going to change.
And
I am never going to
what
be
do you
committing-
point at in history that gives you that idea? That
Well,
every
I
country
think-
just stays
I
the
think-
same, they're
no.
always free.
No, but
What country's ever done that?
No, but I think any democratic institution that's been able to keep a democracy alive hasn't had any issues like a
Like
North
Rome?
Korea would, or like
Rome did? Rome was free for 2 centuries
poor
too.
Rome.
But no, they were taken over by
Poor Rome
a
was taken over by a foreign source because they couldn't monitor them.
No, Rome was taken over from within, like most countries are. That's what I'm
don't
afraid of.
remember
I
what
don't understand
happened
why
to
you're not
Rome.
afraid of that.
What's happened to
Caesar.
Rome?
Fucking Caesar he called himself an emperor. He just said one day, yeah, I'm not going to. You're not just going to vote anymore. I'm just going to take over.
Yeah, but
why can't that happen here?
Because I just don't think it can.
Oh, okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Why don't you think that? Why?
I don't. Because I think that our Constitution was written for that.
Until somebody says, I don't give a fuck about the Constitution and has some power.
It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
All right.
I'm not going to sit here and waste my time talking about whether we're going to have another fucking Caesar, because we're not.
I love that you could just dismiss that out of hand. Like, there's no way it could happen. It's just craziness. Except it happens all over the world all the time. But other than that, it's insane. It doesn't happen
all over the world all the time, Jason. It doesn't.
Leaderships are... governments are overthrown all over the world all the time. Yes, they are. Tell me, what's the longest standing government on Earth right now? I don't even know.
No idea. I can look it up.
British? I mean, what? What's the longest... Because the Chinese are even relatively new.
Standing government.
I'm just telling you. I wish you'd be a little bit more afraid. No, you don't have to be as afraid as me.
I'm not going to live my life in fucking fear,
dude.
I'm not going to live my life in fear. I refuse to live my life in fear. I also refuse to be ignorant and ill-informed, but I refuse to live my life in fear. I refuse to. And it comes down to, honestly, I think how mentality and biologically how you work and how you think, and that is not how I can think.
Really? You think that's just
I think a lot of...
Like a personality type thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of... I think down to whether you're a conservative or a liberal has to do with your biology and how your brain is wired. I don't think sometimes that has anything to do with how you're brought up. A little bit of that, but I think it comes down to how your brain is wired.
All right, well, food for thought. You all chew on that. We'll be right back.
Reach for this one.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back online.
Just turn it on. That took a very PG direction.
Along comes this hit show.
I'm constantly burping on stage.
Hey, you heard about Madonna, right?
Twin Cities hit show with Rusty, Courtney, and Chuck.
Had she fallen to the ground and her eyes rolled into the back of her head, what would you, Tim Mahoney, have done?
I'd have tried to make out with her.
Nice. Get in line.
The Twin Cities hit show with Rusty, Courtney, and Chuck airs live daily, 9:30 to 10:30 on the Alive and Social Network.
Ever swallowed a bug or choke like Courtney on stage?
Yeah. I meant to do this.
Join longtime radio personality and producer Kelly Guest and friend, CEO of Fantasy Gifts, Colleen Bertino, as they talk about all things sex, men, women. Lend them your ears and learn everything you wanted to know about sex and intimacy. Only here on the Alive and Social Network.
This shit on Wiki Answers, though.
Well, here's something we can all agree on. David Letterman is done. Really no controversy there. But I do have to say, I didn't see much of the show last night, and I went back and I watched the final top 10 today. I did see him sign off last night. I did see the Foo Fighters and the little montage of all the great clips. And I did see the Taco Bell, famous little Taco Bell with him working the drive-through clip too. And I do have to say, when he signed off, I got a tiny bit choked up. Like, there was a little bit of a like, wow, that is really over. Like, that's kind of crazy. I mean, that was one of those things you kind of took for granted for your whole life. You never really thought Dave was going to go anywhere.
Where's Oliver?
Oh, he's right here. He's right here. He's right under my foot.
He's on your foot?
No, he's right by my foot. Well, now he's moving toward you because he knows you're looking for him.
Hey, Oliver. Oh, he's stretching. Hi.
So, what was your takeaway? Did you have anything from last night?
Well, I should preface with saying I pretty much just watched a few clips. I watched like the kids, him talking to all the different kids. You were probably still driving back home at that point. Okay. He showed like all the times that he had talked to, you know how like kids on the show like doing science experiments and stuff.
Oh yes.
Okay, I have to take a photo of Oliver.
Oh boy.
And then I watched the top 10, which was great.
Yes, the top 10 was
It
awesome.
was so funny.
Yep.
He had the best people on there, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus's was definitely the best.
Yes, it's great. What did she say? It's great to be part of another terrible finale or something like that, or there's something about the bashing.
A horribly disappointing series finale.
Yes, or the second worst or something like that. It was something like that.
Thank you for letting me be a part of the word, whatever.
Yeah, second worst finale. And then the look on Seinfeld's face is what made that joke even better because he's just like, what?
He did the perfect reaction
He's so
face,
good at
even
that.
though he totally knew. But.
Yeah, of course, but he's so good at that. So were you sad?
No.
See, I wasn't sad until that final second when he was like, for the last time on television, I'm saying goodnight.
He didn't even cry. I mean, he was good.
He seemed to be like he was pretty emotional at the very end, though. At that
Really?
last sign off, I thought.
that it looked like he was fine.
And I thought it was cool too when he walked out to the crowd and they just faded out. Like they just kind of. I liked how they did it. That was well done. But did you see today what happened to the set? Like right after the show,
No, what happened?
straight into the dumpster. I mean, literally, they're cutting it down and throwing it away like that day. And you'd think that. I mean, if I would have been there, I would have grabbed part of like one of the bridges or something if I could
This
have.
is
I mean,
too
that would
hard.
be.
Well, you
What
take
do
a
you-
photo from across the way, but don't get me in it.
What,
You can
why
get
do
my
we
boobs
need
in
to
it.
do this right now?
You can get my boobs in it, but just don't get
Oh,
Oliver.
Christ.
I just want to take a photo of him. Okay.
Oh,
Like
boy.
get the soundboard in there. Oh shit! Sorry, Oliver. Okay, ready? Say cheese.
Wow. Over here, bud. Hold on. Shoot. Do you have this like in a text or something? Why can't I take more than one?
Oh yeah, it's in a text.
All right, that was pretty. Wait, it's kind of. Hold on. He's
Okay.
covered up. No, actually, he looks like he's talking into the microphone. Actually,
No, I don't want to be in it.
I can't just get you or just get him.
Jason. Oh, God,
Give me it. Give me it back. I don't know why we're doing this right now, though.
it's fine. I'll do it later.
Jesus. Anyway,
I
so
just wanted to get some on air photos of him.
no,
It's fine.
Jesus.
Yee.
Yeah,
Ew,
I.
my arm looks yuck in that photo.
That's.
Oh,
That's
do guys
weird.
look at photos and just say, "Bleh"?
Yes.
You do?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you're like, no way. That's
Yes.
horrible.
All the time. That,
I wasn't
that's
sure
what
if that was
Tinder's
just a girl,
for, isn't it?
girl thing or a guy thing.
I don't even think Tinder's for dating. Actually, it's more for that. Just to go, ooh, oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. Like that's it. That's basically what
On
it is.
your own photos. Because on my own photos, that's what I do.
No, I'm talking about the girls that I look at.
Oh, but I mean, do you ever have photos of yourself that you do that too?
I don't take a lot of photos of myself. I mean,
This is
yes.
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying,
I don't
is
ever
I-
look at a photo of mine and go, "That's great."
Girls are so hard on ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves. But you know what? Here's the problem. I take a bad photo of myself, or whatever, and then I let my friend or whoever post a semi okay photo of myself. Like I look fine. I look cute.
Mhm.
I don't look like gross. But then I post a super hot photo of myself, or I'm like smoking hot, and I get like texts from dudes just coming out of the cracks. I'm like, you guys
Hold
fucking
on,
notice.
texts or like Facebook messages?
Both. Like the last profile change I
Is
had.
it creepy to just get the text,
No,
or
I
is
mean,
it creep? Is it creepier to be commenting on Facebook since that's where you put it? I don't know. It seems a
I
little
should
creepy to just
say
randomly
it's
text.
always just my good guy friends
Oh, okay.
that I'm platonic with, but are
Oh, okay.
single. That are single. You know, they're not like going behind their girlfriend's backs and complimenting their friend. They're all my single guy friends, but they'll text me and they're like, "You look super hot in your photo." I'm like, "Oh fuck!" Like, and it's always the photos where how guys always say like, "Oh, I like you with no makeup on and more natural." It's always the photos where I've
It's just dolled the fucking hell.
spent so much time on my makeup, and I put like the most recent photo where I had people text me. I had $200 worth of hair extensions in.
See,
It kills me. I'm like, this is so typical. It's so typical.
See, I wonder, is the type of person too that's going to comment on Facebook or send you a text the type of person that's also going to dig the dolled up picture more? Or is there a correlation at all there? Because I am one of those guys. I do like the natural. Too much makeup is a turnoff to me.
But if I were to have you go through my photos and look at them, because I'm not the type of person that like draws on everything. But when I say dolled up, I mean I've spent time on my makeup.
Yeah.
But I don't look like
You didn't just get off of work, or
I don't have like the heavy lipstick or anything like that. But I have makeup on. But I bet you would still think, being a guy, you would still think that my photo with all the makeup on is still the prettiest because you wouldn't even realize I was wearing much more makeup. Do you know what I mean?
We are dumb to that. Yeah, absolutely. But we can, you know what? Where it is that it's the eye makeup is when a guy can really tell when you're like wearing
It's
really
the
like a
lips,
different
too.
color eyeshadow.
It's
Well,
the
and if you're
lips.
wearing like really dark red lipstick
Because
or
when
something
they
like
do
that.
the celebs, like, guys, like the no makeup look, it's a picture of, horrible whoever, Kim Kardashian, and she's got the really like contoured face and the beautiful bold lips and the really smoky gorgeous eyes, like gorgeous eye makeup. And then you have the other photo where she has the paler lip and just the blush and pretty eyes but it's still the same amount of time exactly, I bet, on the makeup and still professional, still doing just a completely different look.
So
It's not even the amount of makeup or the amount of time. It's just the way the makeup is, the style of the makeup.
but are you telling me though that like a Kim Kardashian or some types like that or a lot of like Hollywood celebs, would that be part of a look? Like one of their looks would be I'm not really trying
That's
to look
part of
too hard.
everybody's look.
Just
That's
every
part
girl
of
does
every
that,
woman's
or
look. Absolutely. There are times where
so what is there actually the look where you're not trying at all, or are you always trying? Like in general, I guess
you're
most chicks
always-
are always trying, right?
No, I'm always trying. It's a conscious decision about
That sounds stressful.
what my makeup looks like on. Sometimes it is, I want to look more natural based on my outfit, so I'll wear different lipstick, different eyeshadows, and then sometimes I want to look like super vampy and have like bold lips, and then I go full on, but it's the same amount of time and it's the same exact amount of makeup. It's just the colors you apply.
And the fact that men don't know the difference, so we
Totally.
do think there is a
You
big
don't
difference.
fucking-
but-
yeah, totally. You're like, oh, you're wearing so much makeup. You're like, nope, just put on different colored
right.
lipstick.
And we would think like you're saving money too, but you're saying you're using
No.
the same amount of stuff.
Same amount of stuff.
Jesus. It fucking being a woman, especially in this country in the 21st century, would be fucking awful. I do not.
Oh, thank you.
I just mean the pressure. Like it just that you put on
Yeah, it
yourselves,
sucks.
much less that we put on you. Oh my God, it sounds awful. We are
Thank you.
dicks. God, I mean
you're
that too.
fine.
I'm not.
I mean, yeah, you're
kidding.
kind of assholes, but it's fine. I like being a woman, but it's also difficult.
But
It's just a constant struggle.
what is the? There's a.
And I'm the type of person who I have high self confidence. Like I think I'm a confident, grounded person who is really proud of who they are, and every day it's a fucking struggle to be a lady.
Right. So imagine the super self-conscious, constantly worried about everybody thinks about them.
Yeah.
It sounds awful. But what about the social pressure on us too? Why when do we evolve eventually and kind of get past this, or is the pressure on us by other men and even women to be like that too, to be hard on you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think women have always been back in ancient civilizations. Women have been, touted for their beauty, and women wore jewelry and makeup, and I don't think that's anything that's going to change anytime soon. But I think it's important not to have, in the technological era, to not have expectations in terms of like body and hair. It's it's easier to be unrealistic, and we just have to remind ourselves of that.
Well, but have I ever mentioned this in the show? I remember watching this crazy documentary about Egypt, and they said something about. This is totally against conventional wisdom, like with the age of the pyramids and stuff. But they were saying that there was a civilization there 10 or 20,000 years ago, and it was a matriarchal society. And
like the
the
Amazonian?
men wore makeup, and the women were in charge, and the men had the longer hair, and like seriously, it was flipped.
I wonder what that is. I mean, there's something biological about femininity too. It's not just a society pressure.
Right.
I mean, you look at men who are trans, and the first thing they do is they want to put on makeup as a young boy, or
They want to be more feminine.
they want
right?
to be more feminine,
Yeah.
and that
and
comes
we
along with certain things.
we kind of going along with what we're saying here too. We put feminine slightly below masculine, as in general,
in terms
or at
of
least
power,
masculine does. At least the men do. Yeah.
in terms of power.
And what I'm saying, like from that documentary, it sounded like back then, feminine was more powerful. It just Or the women were more masculine.
I don't know.
I guess I don't know. I'd have to learn more about that whole
don't know.
concept. But
it'd be super fascinating to read about those cultures that like have complete reverse on most of society, whether it's a Western culture or an Eastern culture.
But but fascinating too to think about. I mean, we know a lot about Egypt, especially for any country in Africa. We know that. I think that in general, Americans know more about that country than any other African country, and just kind of the world in general does. They know a lot about them, and it was always pharaohs, kings, men in charge. You know, for the thousands of years that we know of their history.
The only person who really wasn't a man in charge was Cleopatra.
Yeah,
and she slept with. Did you ever read the Cleopatra biography?
No, but I watched Rome.
So this is considered one of the most accurate biographies of her. There are no drawings of her. There aren't many written words about her, but this woman has dedicated her life to essentially studying Cleopatra, an archaeologist. It's an amazing biography. Few things I didn't know. She slept with like Caesar, whoever the
and
leader,
Caesar's right-hand man.
And Caesar's right-hand man. And she slept with who is the other guy that was in power, like on the other side of the world. She essentially slept with all the leaders and got them under her like whoever the Great. I don't know.
Alexander the Great or something?
Like that. But
or like whoever was running Sparta at the time.
Our timing is completely off, but I'm sounding ridiculous now. But anyway, she slept with the greatest men in the world, the most powerful men in the world, totally had them like wrapped around her finger. She killed herself because Egypt was falling. And she was like 19 at the time. Like,
really?
Very young. She killed her like 12-year-old brother. Like all of her brothers and sisters were fighting against each other for the throne. And kids were in battle very young and they were all murdering each other. And ended up killing herself because she didn't want anyone to take away her glory, essentially. That's what you did. You killed yourself instead of letting someone kill you. And 50 years later, after she died, Jesus was born.
Wow.
50 years. That's it. Isn't that fascinating?
That is.
I love that stat. Like that's how small the gap is in all of ancient history between Cleopatra and Jesus.
Well, wait, hold on a second though. Didn't Jesus say something unto Caesar's and he's talking about taxes?
Something about Rome.
So I thought he was alive at the time of Caesar, but maybe it was just Caesar was still his legacy.
Well, Caesar as in Caesar was the name of the leader of Rome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you were a Caesar, that's who you were.
Right. I got you. Okay.
Wow, we're really talking about Rome tonight.
Yeah, that was an interesting little...
I think we need to read up before we talk anymore because...
No shit?
I don't think we know what we're talking
Well, speculation's always fun. And God knows there was a lot of it
But I watched Rome on HBO, that's right,
so
right?
I know everything
and
about
I've like been there once.
I haven't even been there, so I have nothing on that.
I went there once and it was pretty fascinating. I just got really drunk. It was beautiful though.
So that'd be my problem. I would go to a place like that and just party. And it'd be like,
well, that's what you're supposed to do in Italy.
Yeah, well, yeah, but still, there's a lot to see and a lot to learn. But I guess you don't have to do that there. You just have to see it.
You kind of stand in the Colosseum and you're like, oh, wow. Okay.
Well, how much do you really take in other than just, oh, here I am?
Yeah, and it's hard to wrap your brain around. You see like that. And first of all, the Colosseum is quite small. It's really not that big.
Sure. Well, because we're used to 60,000 seat football stadiums
exactly.
now. So.
And this was like 20,000 or whatever it was. We'll have to look up exactly. But and then you think about like you see the pits where the lions would come out and whatever, and you're like, oh, okay, that happened. But it's hard to wrap your mind around 2,000 years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
3,000 years ago.
Well,
whatever it was.
What drives me crazy is when you see black and white video. I can't like that. To me, it's like it's a movie. It's fiction. It's
totally.
not. It can't even be real. And I try very often. I do this lately, especially. I try to picture it in color so that it seems real, and then I can like put myself because I try to go. That guy right now is not looking around at black and white when he's taking this picture or in this video. He is in. It's like normal life, like it is for us, and it just you can't get yourself there when you're looking at it in black and white. And
it's
I can
so
see
weird.
I can see that with a historical site too. You just can't even fathom it.
You can't fathom it, especially when you're walking around where they'd say like, oh, and this is where the court system had their building, and this is where this, and you'd see the remnants in the stone, and you're like, this is fucking ancient Rome. Like what? Or then you think about what people talked about and did back then. Probably wasn't that much different, even in like the early 1900s. You're like, what did people do back then? probably wasn't much different
Right,
than
they
today.
drank and they
worked,
had
and
sex, and they had kids, and
drama,
they,
it's weird.
The biggest difference I think between modern life and that is just the cleanliness. But otherwise, I think the way of life was probably always very
How
similar.
we communicated and how we interact.
It had to be somewhat similar, except for and here. Okay, this could be the one about with all the tangents too. But what have we figured out? Is it bullshit that people used to have such a great vocabulary and now they don't? I mean, you read Shakespeare, but people didn't talk like that back then.
No,
is what I've learned. Over the years.
I mean, no. I mean, you would know.
He was writing to be over the top and to be very super articulate and stuff. All that,
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, the people that were watching his plays in the standing room only at the Globe Theater, they were not talking like that.
Right. So where does that fall with language in this country? And I don't know if it's just this country, if it's everywhere, but I feel, and I've even seen, conservatives, I think, love to pull up this stuff. They'll pull up an 8th grade test from 1842.
You're like, oh, look at all the beautiful words.
The questions are
You're
used.
Well,
they're very long words.
What kids went to school in 1842? All the rich kids.
Yeah, because the poor kids are working on the farm.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You go to a poor area of the country now, and people do not have as good at grammar. People say ain't and say things out of order and say, well, what's the one that always really bothers me? When people say it's the opposite of what they should be saying. God,
the one that drives me nuts is the I seen.
I seen is horrible.
I seen that movie the other day. No, you didn't.
I seen that movie. No,
you didn't.
Nope, you didn't. There's one other one just like that, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah, what drives me nuts is when educated people still do that. Because yes, there are people that you didn't get a good education. Nobody taught you English. That's not your fault.
You didn't get no good education.
Nobody learned you no English.
When they put no in front of things.
Oh,
I didn't see no.
Oh God.
Like what?
Oh God, that hurts.
What is that? I think
the double negatives in general are always horrible.
Yes. I think now people just talk faster, and it's just a reflection of the fact that the world moves a lot quicker with the internet and with planes and with globalization. And I think there are more words than ever before. There's always more words being added, where back then there weren't. Language was staying fairly constant.
Is that true?
It's rapidly changing.
Are you basing that on just your own thought, common sense, or do you have knowledge of that?
No,
I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't know.
I think both.
Because I do feel like we add shit tons of words to our dictionary all the time now, but I don't know if that's just always been throughout history.
No, I think words are added more frequently now as cultures cross and as languages cross.
Well, the internet probably is a big part of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
all right. Well, it's Memorial Day weekend this weekend. So it is this weekend, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit. I work all weekend, so it means nothing to me. So that's not a big deal. But this brings up an issue that I want to talk about, and we'll do that real quick right after this on the Minnesota Pubcast.
Join longtime radio personality and producer Kelly Guest and friend, CEO of Fantasy Gifts, Colleen Bertino, as they talk about all things sex, men, women. Lend them your ears and learn everything you wanted to know about sex and intimacy. Only here on the Alive and Social Network. Conversations with the best writers. With Suhan Unfiltered, sports columnist for the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, Jim Suhan presents in-depth conversations with the best writers and sports personalities in the area. Suhan brings professional journalism flavor without the verbal censoring. Find out what unfiltered really means. Only on the Alive and Social Network. SuhanUnfiltered.com.
Get a sufficient picture yet? Oliver, would you look at the camera? This is pretty well.
So cute.
Oh, wow. All right, the successful Ollie picture has been taken, so we can focus on the last few minutes here of the Minnesota Pubcast.
He's so photogenic when he
Well, he's photogenic. Period.
Look at it. Wait, I just hang on.
What are you
Screw it up.
What are you trying to do?
I was going to show it to you, but I don't want you to hold it because I don't want you to touch something and screw it up and make me retake it.
I'm gonna hit use.
No.
I'm gonna hit
Oh,
retake.
you want to
I'm
take
gonna
it?
hit.
I'm texting. And look at how cute he is when he.
Oh yeah, he's
Really
very cute.
cute.
He's
Okay.
very cute. All right, so Memorial Day weekend, I keep seeing more and more about this lately. I don't know if it's been on your like Facebook feed as well, but people that are basically like former soldiers freaking out like on people for burning the flag or stomping on the flag, and I see a lot of basically threatening violence on anyone who does anything to the flag. And I just want to take this quick moment, being Memorial Day weekend, to say to both of these groups of people, let's start with the ones that want to threaten violence against people who burn the flag, especially if you've served for your country. Do you have any fucking idea what you're fighting for? Because being able to be a moron and show that through free speech is what you're fighting for, right? Like that's the First Amendment. Like that's one of the biggest things that we fight for this country, right? That's part of our freedom. But if you're the guy burning the flag, you're also a fucking moron because you don't understand that you're basically in one of the only countries that allows that because you do have free speech. If you live in a free country and you burn the flag, you don't get it. Like you're going against your own. You really don't understand what you're doing.
I'm gonna fucking do this legal thing
to
be
make
a
a
fucking
point that I
badass and
can do it. Like what? Right? And I even get you can be upset with this country, and if you burn a flag, like I don't want to. I don't care physically. Like I'm not going to try to stop you, but I would laugh at you. I would just go. There's a lot of other ways that you could go about this protest in this way of showing your angst about our country, and I have it too. Like I have a lot of angst, and we've kind of gotten to that in the first segment. But burning the flag is so stupid. But I want to know what you think, especially about these people that are threatening violence toward them, like former soldiers. What do you think about that?
I mean, we're going back to the Constitution here. They're allowed to do that. There was a whole legal battle, and the flag burner won back in Vietnam. Like you are actually, what was that court case called?
I don't remember when that actually came
It was a
up.
really fascinating court case.
Because it was a crime to burn the flag at one point, right? Yeah.
Yep. And then the
But I
Supreme
love that.
Court of the United States
That would be a very
decided
big
that
method of speech, would it not?
absolutely. And then there were similar things at the same time, ripping up your draft card, and that was considered illegal.
Weren't they doing that like at the White House and like throwing them over the fence?
They
and
were,
burning
yeah,
them
they were
there
doing
and all
it
that?
in
Yeah.
protest of Vietnam, and that was considered illegal because it's considered a government document.
Yeah.
And so you can't.
It's probably some kind of a felony or something.
Texas versus Johnson. This is great. The statute that criminalizes the desecration of the American flag violates the First Amendment. Oh, never mind. Texas Court of Criminal Appeals affirmed. Well, duh. What? I'm sorry. I'm trying to find the Supreme Court's one. That was the Texas one where, of course, Texas was like, hell yeah, you can't burn the flag. No burning the flag here.
Oh, hold on. Speaking of that accent, total different story, but I had to bring this up. The rhino hunter guy. Did you see that one? I think I posted that pretty late in the day, so you may not have. But you still might have seen the story. This guy paid $350,000 to shoot a black rhino.
Fuck.
First
Why?
reaction. Yep, my first reaction. All right, let's listen to it. Okay, I pulled this.
Wait,
story.
can we finish this first?
Yeah, let's.
So
I was trying to buy you time.
I thought it happened in Vietnam. That was another issue. This happened in June 1989. It allowed flag burning as protected free speech.
That wasn't until 1989.
It wasn't until 1989. Wow. It might have been technically legal, or there was no precedent set to. And then he burned it. Someone,
and then he was charged with a crime somehow.
Yeah, charged with a crime, and then
appealed all the way.
Exactly. So the battle of the courts over people burning the American flag or doing other offensive acts to the flag dates back to 1907. In the prior decade, states started passing laws that banned flag desecration, which not only included laws protecting the flag from physical abuse, but also from commercial abuse. But the Supreme Court said free speech.
Yeah.
Sorry, dudes.
You agree with that, right? You think that should be a method of free speech?
Absolutely.
And I think, like, hanging it upside down.
That's where you get scary, is when you can't do things like burning the flag.
Yes.
Because that stops you from being in opposition of what the government is doing, and you should always be That's another thing of why I'm not afraid. We are always allowed to be in opposition of what the government is doing.
Yeah. Well, at least we're supposed to be, I hope. Okay, so $350K this guy pays. And I didn't even see Ricky Gervais's tweet, but I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure there's a bunch of them.
I'm so into Ricky right now for doing that.
I like Ricky too, but okay, I'm going to play the news story. This is edited, but only to shorten it. It's not, there's no content taken out of this. I may pause it kind of here in the middle, but let's just take a little listen to this here.
A lot of people don't understand and makes them angry at you is they don't understand how this kill benefits the extremely endangered black rhino. They say, why would you kill it to begin with? Why?
This one black rhino in question was killing other black rhinos, and the locals really don't have a benefit for that.
Story over. Next. To me, that's a pretty fucking... If that's true, that's a pretty damn good point.
If that's true... Okay.
Right? Is there anywhere else to go with this interview?
If the people, was it on a reservation or was it?
It's in Nambia, and yes, the local population. I mean, and I'll play the rest.
If something is wrong with that black rhino, where he's killing all the other rhinos for what? I've never heard of that. I don't know anything about rhinos.
Apparently, and I'll play some more so we can get a little more context here. But apparently, there's 4 in this pack of rhinos. I don't know how many are in there. 20 tops probably, because there's not many rhinos left. But 4 of these males are hurting or killing other males. So to me, we're all about, this is an endangered species. That's what we're upset about, right? That he's killing an endangered species. Why would you do that? Well, if you're killing the one that's actually killing more and giving the species less of a chance to reproduce, I think you're helping.
Sure. If
right?
that animal has an own threat to its species,
you're doing it a favor, aren't you? Or I mean, the rest of the population.
The rest of the population, if it has a threat to the species as a whole and growing the species, then okay. But I would love to hear what environmentalists think.
Well, because I think this guy is one. First of all,
okay. So a true environmentalist would be rational about this, and they would understand the consequences of these actions.
I think so. That's what I get from this. Let's play some more. Maybe we'll pause or we'll play the rest. But let's see.
So you're saying that these black rhinos, of which they'd identified 4, right, and you were allowed to kill one of them. You're saying that they actually are killing younger males. That their impact on the herd is actually hurting reproduction, not helping by letting them live. That's your bottom line.
Absolutely. That's not the bottom line, but that's one of the aspects of it, 100%.
All right, so we got a lot of response from viewers, as you know, Corey, and I just want to share 2 tweets with you, both of which go at something that's also, I think, core to this. One of them, dude that killed the rhino is ridiculous. I am a hunter also, and that is the lamest reason ever for a kill. He wanted the kill. And then another one, black rhino killing for $350,000 makes no sense. Could have donated that money for conservation. And that's a question I have for you, Corey, right? I mean, if you have $350,000, why not just donate it to help save rhinos? Why do you have to kill one in exchange for the money?
I love his response.
Okay, the easiest way to explain that is the $350,000 was donated, and the contribution would have been higher if it wasn't for the controversy. The $350,000 went through the most vetted process possible by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife and the IUCN and Conservation Force and over 170 nation members of CITES. So it was the very best way to ensure the money went to go get the very best effect for the money.
So the reason I bring this up is because it's so easy for all of us, and your initial reaction, mine was too, was, what the fuck, dude? Really? You spend $350,000 so you can get a trophy?
Sure,
like you want to just go kill something?
There are trigger-happy hunters out there,
and there
love
are,
and do the big game shit, and it's like,
and it's disgusting, right?
Right. I'm all for the deer hunting in Minnesota because we need hunters to stop overpopulation.
Yes,
and they do not. Anyway, keep going.
And just my point is that I think it's the Ricky Gervais's too of this society. It's really easy to bash this guy and go, what an asshole, and not look into it.
Totally.
But, and again, I'm taking it at his word. He could be lying his ass off.
Sure.
But if we take him at his word...
that'll come out if
it
is.
Right. So if you take him at his word, it sounds to me that what he is doing... And again, you can have a conversation about whether or not it is just to help a population in this way, to kill the ones that are dangerous to the rest of the herd.
Yep.
We can talk about that. But to me, if you're concerned about this species surviving and the most of them surviving that possibly can, why are you mad at this guy? and stop
Right.
being so emotional. I guess that's all I want.
Right. It would be nice if someone else kind of spoke up in his behalf, just like gave him a little, leg up.
Well, and I edited him. He shouldn't even be speaking for himself. I cut out the just bullshit that he was just spewing. He's not very well spoken.
Sure.
And he couldn't. You could have just said, "Here, dude, give me the bullet points, and I'll make the argument for you," because he was just so bad and with it.
Oh,
but
yeah.
what pissed me off about this too, though,
we're not all PR people.
well,
dude.
but I think it's interesting too, though, that she asked him, "Why did you do this?" And he says, "Because they're a danger to the rest of the herd." And she goes, "Okay, but these other guys still think you're an asshole, and I'm going to read these tweets." Like the tweets his answer completely shuts up those tweets. Like those tweets are useless now because what he said is a real reason.
I'm okay with it. He elaborated.
To me, that's just that typical journalism of today. It's just so easy, and it's just.
I thought she was
do
fine.
your job. Do your job.
I thought she was fine. She did a follow-up question. She
Well, and she's doing what her
pushed
audience
him a little
wants, I
bit.
think.
She didn't say, peace out. But she wasn't like, oh, great, good answer. Okay, see you later. Like, you're supposed to push a little bit.
I know.
She wasn't pushing too hard.
But I would love the day where you had the panel on for whatever topic.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
and
cool.
there's okay, so how do we solve the old oil crisis? And a guy gives the answer, and you don't go to the rest of the panel. You're like, fuck it, got it. Next story. Or
Thank you.
Go to commercial.
All right,
yeah,
move on.
That would be the best newscast I've ever seen. But of course, that would never happen. Okay, we're almost out of time here, but I do want to touch on the new Saints Stadium is opening up tonight. It's the first game.
I think I'm going on Sunday.
Are you? Okay.
If it's nice, I'm going Sunday. What do you?
Is it a day game?
It's 5 p.m.
I think I want to go.
You want? Okay, you let me know if you go.
Yeah, 'cause you can get standing room tickets right now for like $9. So
perfect.
But okay, so here's what's interesting about this. I knew tonight would sell out. I figured that would be a pretty big deal because it's a cool spot, cool stadium, blah blah blah. But I started looking on SeatGeek, which is the app that I use now to kind of get the cheapest tickets. It's kind of like the kayak of sporting events and concerts. And the weekend, the tickets get more expensive as you go here. I think you get Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then they come back in June. And the cheapest ticket, now this is on SeatGeek, not on Saints.com or whatever.
Okay.
But on SeatGeek, it was like $78.
That's fucking
you can get a Twins ticket for less than half. So but again, I went on their website and you can get them standing room only $9. But
you want a fun little tidbit of information about the Saints?
Yeah. Other than Bill Murray's a part owner, but
I don't know if I should be saying this, but Bill Murray will be in town.
He's
tomorrow
here tonight.
night.
I thought he was here tonight.
He will be in town tomorrow. He will be in town tonight. He will be in town tomorrow night, and I know exactly where he will be tomorrow, so we could go stalk him if he wants.
You sound a little bit creepy about this. How do you know exactly?
Because he's playing golf with a family friend.
Do I know who he's playing golf with?
I
know the friend. I'm saying. Is this not okay? No, obviously not.
I don't think you know the friend.
You would have known if. Okay, yeah, obviously not.
He's no. He's you don't know the friend.
Okay, not that guy.
But I know the friend.
Are you gonna sneak out to the golf course?
I might go down to the golf course for a little bit tomorrow.
Well, does he hit do we know if he hits the 19th hole afterward? Because if he goes into the clubhouse afterward and has a couple brews, I would love to be there.
He's got it. And he's got to have the full-on dinner at the club afterwards. And I'm not going to say which club.
But it's at a country club.
It's at a country
private,
club,
obviously. Yeah.
And I will not.
I would love to
say
see him hacking it at Highland.
But he's not hacking it in Highland. It's one of the nicer ones in the area.
Of course. I bet I could narrow it down.
But we
too,
could.
But
I'll tell you afterwards.
Well, of course you will. But I don't want to. We need to put it on the podcast. You better fucking tell me. No. But do you have any idea what he's doing tonight? Like, is he throwing out the first pitch or anything? I know he'll be part of it, but
I don't know what he's doing tonight. All I know is where he'll be tomorrow, and I gotta get the down low for my mom and see if she knows any more details because we're gonna go. We're gonna casually have lunch and dinner at the club
at the exact same place that he happens to be.
Absolutely.
Just casually.
Well, we're members. Why would we not?
No, yeah, might as well. Oh my God, that's awesome. So yeah, I just and the part about that I found interesting though was there's nowhere to tailgate at any of our new stadiums. Target Field, nothing.
Well,
I mean, you got
thankfully,
the bars,
Target Field has all the bars.
Right.
I don't think baseball has never been a big tailgating place in Minnesota.
Well, Met Stadium, I bet was, but still, I don't think baseball and tailgating, except for the Saints, really goes
For
together
the Brewers,
necessarily anyway.
people tailgate for the
I
Brewers.
suppose, yeah,
but-
yeah, and they have a huge, perfect lot for that
They
too.
do.
But apparently, the Saints just recently did get some kind of an agreement with a lot down there that there is tailgating down there. So I know like most of you probably don't even know where the hell the stadium is because you can't see it from anywhere unless you're in Lower Town, basically. So if you don't live down there, if you don't frequent down there, but it to have the lot to tailgate in is, I think, especially for the Saints, very important because that's the kind of crowd you're getting for the Saints. But I also think you're getting a different crowd because you're now in Lower Town. You're not over, out of the way at Midway,
right?
Where that was what was kind of cool about it. It's in the middle of nowhere, so you can just tailgate. And
Totally.
Where would you go, right? But if you're in Lower Town, it's more like Target Field. You have tons of options down there to go party and drink or whatever.
You do.
But I do like the idea of sitting, grilling, and just drinking beer out of a cooler for an hour before a game. And I don't think that we as Minnesotans, we basically never do that. I've only done it for a Gopher football game. That's the only time I've ever done it.
Yeah.
Ever tailgated. And I think it's a lost art that we don't
well,
have here.
I mean, we don't. But to me, it was college days, and nothing will ever beat Big Ten Iowa football tailgating. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I don't really care. Like I'm like my tailgating is I go down to Iowa every year and I tailgate. So
Have
I don't
you ever
even
been to a
think
Packer
about
game?
it. I've never been
Or
to Lambeau before.
Lambeau, yes. I think that would be really fun.
It would be super fun. I would love that.
And a Vikings Green Bay game.
Well, the
would be
Gopher
really
games
fun.
still have fun tailgating, and that's.
But where do you tailgate for a Gophers game now? Even where
there's
is there down there?
all the lots surrounding.
There,
There's
okay.
Tons of lots.
Okay.
There's a lot of space. It's
'Cause
fun.
I've been
It's
down
not
there
like
for
Iowa,
games,
but
it's
fun.
yeah. It seems like it's okay. Is the field in Iowa or the stadium in Iowa? Is it kind of out in the middle of nowhere? I mean, a lot of people would say, "Well, it's in Iowa." Of course it is, but
No, it's technically in Iowa City. It's in a residential area, so
okay.
you cross the river from main campus, and you walk like maybe a half a mile past main campus, and it's right there.
Have you been to the Brewer Stadium?
No, I've never been to.
Have you seen it though?
Yes,
Have you like driven
I
by
have.
it? Yeah. So you can picture how it's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I mean,
Well, it's like
except
the
for the
Nationals
driving
stadium.
away
well,
from
Nationals
it.
is now. I'm trying to think of the other stadiums I've been to that are kind of like in the Redskins Stadium. I hate that.
It's FedEx.
Washington. Yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere.
Is it?
Just like nothing.
See, I wanted the Viking Stadium to be in Andover.
No, I'm
or
happy
or
it's
wherever
here.
they were, or Arden Hills. Arden Hills. That's
I'm
what
happy
I'm
it's
talking
here
about.
because we got to get people to Minneapolis. We got to get people to downtown Minneapolis, and I want to rejuvenate this city and this state through Minneapolis.
I would like to see that happen, but I mean, they keep trying with downtown. I mean, that North Loop's pretty
see.
cool now, but
North
like Block
Loop's
E,
great.
that's always been a fucking huge.
Well,
failure.
now it's Mayo Clinic Square, and
and
that's
isn't it
open.
partially like the training center now too of the Wolves and all
It's
that. Like,
yeah. If you go down there, it's all cool industrial building, and the Wolves and the Lynx, like it's all incorporated into the building exterior, and it looks nice. And then they're going to be redoing Nicolette, and they're going to have a huge, massive park at some point next to the Viking Stadium. So
Yeah, no.
it'll be good.
Downtown Minneapolis right now is beautiful. Like I love it down there,
Yeah,
but
when I say it's beautiful.
It's compared to what it was even not that long ago. I feel like it is.
They're
It's
working on
better.
it.
It's better.
There's still some rough areas, but
Well, at least we're not Detroit or Cleveland or a few of other places.
Yeah.
You anything you got to tie
no,
a bow on
I'm
it?
ready to
I think
order some
we're-
food. Do you want any food?
No, I'm going to eat at the bar when I go watch Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals.
Whatever.
Triple overtime there. Craziest hockey game I've seen in a long time. All right. Let's get in. Let's try to get 2 shows for you again next week. No promises, but we'll do our best. Otherwise, till then, see you.